Welcome to a big Magnum Skywolf update today. What we're looking at here is the first 14 pages of Magnum Skywolf. And I think when I initially started this project back in April or so, I was thinking of it more as a webcomic, but at this point I'm looking at it more like a finished comic book. And that means I've changed how I'm working on it a bit. And I've decided to go through and complete the storyline before I start digging in and completing a lot of the pages all the way through to completion. There's several levels of completion. There's sketching, there's inking, there's finished ink. There's like different levels of inking and finished inking and like final inking and all that stuff. But let's take a look at a couple of the things I've done over the past few weeks, and then I'm going to lay down some rough inks on page 12. Because what I'm really concentrating here is the storytelling more than anything, and I'm going to buy some new clay tomorrow and finally do the second revision of the Magnum 9000 helicopter and their helmets. I want to sculpt their helmets to make drawing their helmets precise every single time. So there's page 5, which is new, page 4. And page 3 took a while, but I think that's a nice one. I'm going to show that to you right now. And I'm going to do some revisions on the Patreon campaign on how I'm doing deliverables to get you guys stuff more frequently. One of the things is when I start going and doing finishing work, as you'll see, it takes me forever. So here's a look at the new page 3 after Captain Hunter Skywolf blows up the enemy camp. Smoking 2 cigarettes at once, he finds himself flying into some serious shit. And you can see this isn't finalized at all. Even though I've cleaned up the edges a bit, there was actually quite a bit of spillover from the grayscale and stuff. I haven't lined all the text and really done the final revisions. Before I go to print, and this will be a print book, I take days and just obsess over all the details, but pretty happy with the way this one turned out here, in progress at least. But we can see that Hunter Skywolf was being sucked into the polar vortex. Now let's open up page 4. And keep in mind that page 4 is on the left. Just drew this one the other day. And there he is, asleep on the bar with a martini and a cigarette, late for a mission. Although I'm actually going to change this dialogue a little bit, because after I was just reading, over here, looking at my layers, after I was just reading my, reading the comic, I don't want to reveal that it's a training mission so soon. Here's page 5, which is going to be a single shot page, and this is something like the final version I'm looking at here. I'm going to sculpt a new one. There's actually some other hoses and stuff going on, but I want to just sculpt a new version and fire it in the oven so that I can do the action sequence, because the next 5 to 6 pages are just straight action as the helicopter goes through a training mission. But this will be a single shot here on the Wacom, as you can see. That was page 5. What we're looking at here is page 6. We got 7. I want to do some more detail work, or I should say I want to sculpt their helmets out of clay. So we're going to have, I'm going to sculpt this helmet. Make sure to get all the angles right on that. Sculpt the helicopter. And you can see that's pretty much the entire page is the helicopter and the helmets. And then they're going to be fighting F-16s or F-22s or something. I haven't decided yet. I'll obviously do some research in military books for that. Here's page 13. And I had this laid out a while ago. Actually, this stuff was all done as a sketch at the top of the page, and I slid it all to the bottom to make way for the helicopter landing on the top. Keep in mind this is the left. If you're reading a comic book, this is the page on the left, which is frequently like a reveal. You pull it over and the helicopter lands. Now page 12, which I'm going to do right now, I'm actually going to be inserting in there to set the stage for El Camino Island, which is where the Burning Palms Resort is, and the helicopter is hidden within the volcano. And I drew this for one of the Patreon prints a little while ago. But I'm going to just do a sequence, a couple shots, maybe 3 or 4 additional shots here. I think I want to show that there's an El Camino parked at El Camino, on El Camino Island. And then do a sequence where it's preparing to land in the volcano. It lands in the volcano, and this is where she's yelling at him because he's a reckless douchebag. Okay? And the next page is actually going to be brand new. I have the writing in my head, but she's going to meet up with him at the bar. Of course, he's terribly offensive and obnoxious, and that's where we're going to start to set the stage that he won't use modern technology like cell phones, and refuses to take a call at the bar unless it's handed to him on a rotary phone. Here's a look at page 11, which is pretty heavily inspired by a certain 80s action movie. And at the end, he scares off the commie cowards, although it turns out they may not be commies after all, and flies into what's going to be page 12 here. So I'm going to slide this down, and you'll see. Here, I'm going to mount the camera and do the rough pencils for page 12. Because the island is it's a resort, but the resort is actually a cover for this top secret military operation hidden within the volcano. And the resort is called Burning Palms because it's on a volcano. Merge those layers. Reaching a little further. Go over here. Wipe that. So I'm not going to need this. All right. So he's going. Let's see. This is going to be on the right side. And the right side, sometimes I like to take things and go off that way, but the helicopter is going to be coming in this way. So what we're going to do. Make the sketch. So he's flying in over the ocean, and I'm going to draw this with the model. I know the angle I want. I just want to make sure I get all the bits right, and then that's going to fly in like around here or something. So we're going to see him come around there. And we need to have a bunch of people like lounging around. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Hang on. Okay. I may actually reverse this. Might be nice to have it coming around this direction. And then, so he's going to make some obnoxious comment. Of course, she's going to be in the back rolling her eyes. Alright, so I may flip this top one, but it flies in, cruises over the volcano, and you can see the resort is right here. He's going to make some obnoxious comment about the scenery. Like any good 80s action movie or 80s TV show, there'll be a bunch of girls hanging around the pool drinking cocktails. And they're going to see the helicopter flying overhead, so I think I'm going to try to show the volcano in scale here, There's the resort, here's the volcano, and the helicopter's going to be right there, coming in. Okay? I'll work out the details of that shot later. But I think it's important to show at some point here what the resort looks like, because this is the part of the resort that would be right here. You see, the resort kind of wraps around the side of the volcano. So really, what I'm showing is the pool, which would be right here. In fact, I may even want to make a model of this to make sure I get it drawn right. But And there'll be people here standing by the pool looking up at the volcano. So I'm going to save that. Page 12. And page 13, which will be on the left. So here's the helicopter landing. And I may actually have to add something on the top here to reflect that this is the inside of a volcano with the shading. So probably a lot of black shading up there. And the dialogue sequence here, which is mostly just comic strip style artwork, so that's pretty easy. Deal with that later. The writing here is what's important. So she's supposed to meet him at the bar later for a disco martini to celebrate the intake cat after he sucks a cat into the helicopter jet intake. What we're looking at here is another drawing I did for one of the prints, which is a schematic of the Burning Palms Resort. So I'm going to use that as an establishing shot. Go to a sequence of events at the bar in the resort, which then sets in motion the plot for the entire book. You got that? Good. Now this is a disco martini. I'm going to also save page 15. I want to do 14 and 15 together since it'll be a left and right. I'm actually going to open this instead of using a confined box like this. I'm going to do a bleed off the side of the page for a two-page spread. You'll frequently see manga do that. I think it's a nice effect. I used that a lot in Ethel the Cyborg Ninja too. So this will be the left side page, which will bleed off to the left, and then page 15 will be on the right, and that'll bleed off to the right. So we're going to start this page off with a shake, shake, shake sound effect because a disco martini is being mixed, and then have that poured into the glass in front of them, of course. Shaker here. This is just a sketch. I'll do the detail work on this later. Probably end up, I may actually photo stage this. I have a prop martini glass I use for a lot of these shots. Grab part of the frame. Just throw that in over here. And I think the bartender is going to say, "Here you go, Captain. Just the way you like it. Here you go, Captain. One disco martini. Shaken. And then shaken again for the twice shake. Per your request." And I can also use shake in the intro scene as well, since he is a scumbag. That's part of his charm. That's probably all of his charm. So he's going to be sort of slumped over the bar here. Probably photo stage that, but at least get the frame in so I can. This is how I write. I scribble it out, see how it plays out, see what's funny, see what they look like. All right. Let's get this gag out of the way right here. Why don't you answer your phone? Well, because he doesn't carry a cell phone. He's afraid of technology. He's from the 70s. Okay, so here's how the dialogue's progressing here. Why don't you answer your phone? So she's going to be shaking her cell phone at him. Is that what this is? How do I know the commies aren't watching? The communists are no longer a threat, but the agency is if we miss their briefing. To which he just drinks and ignores her. And the last couple lines here for page 16. We have a freedom meeting in 5 minutes. I added it to your calendar. Can't you hear your phone buzzing? To which he responds, hello comrades, the nuclear codes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bzz, bzz, bzz. I'll see you outside in 5 or you're dead. Do you have a light? No, you imbecile, this is the future. Nobody smokes anymore. And I gotta make sure that I put one of these little table candles on the bar for that shot. He's not of the future. Magnum Skywolf is a man of the past. And a great man. See you next time. Thanks to those of you backing on Patreon. Check your post. There'll be some goodies contained with it.